What's up, everyone? It's Joel from the Fun Pimps, and thank heaven for Volume 11. Will the combat system get an upgrade? As much as I disagree with IGN on most things, I do agree that having the attack animation be the same as the mining animation just makes it look like you are mining zombies. Maybe we could, but you know what? Mining tools are meant to be mining tools. So if you're using a mining tool to kill a zombie, that's just dumb. Use a weapon like a club or whatever. Those have specific animations that were meant to look good killing zombies. But yeah, we've talked about what you're saying, and I would like, kind of a whole different stamina usage and a whole different animation based on what you're targeting, and rather than what you say. So yeah, I agree. Will we get that? I don't know. We'll see. Evilist Overlord, Mad Mole. So I noticed in the last video you mentioned that the distant terrain you are preloading the map. Could you also set the base number of zombies in each biome and POI? I don't know, and I'm not reading a foot-long explanation. You can set the number of zombies in the XML. Can you give us a little demonstration of how you sculpted the mountains of Dead Man's Gorge in Navigaine? Sure, 1 second. Let me pause this video. So this is the height map of Navigaine, and everything white is high and everything black is very low in the game. So basically it's a gradient of 0 to 255, with 255 being the highest possible area. So if you want to raise an area, you would just basically, this is my mouse and not a tablet, so there's no pressure sensitivity here, but basically if you paint an area like there, you would have a very high plateau in the game. So it's a lot of airbrushing and painting and zooming way in, and and painting little details, and I don't really smudge, but with a mouse this is about all you do. I use the blend tool and a pressure sensitive mouse with a Wacom tablet, so it's a lot more elegant than what I'm trying to show you here with the mouse. But yeah, basically that's it. You manipulate the pixels up and down, and and that's pretty much it. So on with the questions. Something strange. Will we see zombies feasting on other corpses in the future while scavenging? Maybe zombies that have recently eaten a corpse are stronger. I hope so. I mean, that's a feature I always wanted, where the zombies would upgrade to a feral after feeding. So if a zombie kills your friend and they're eating him, they're going to quickly upgrade into feral zombies and be running and be stronger even during the daytime. So that's kind of the new concept, is anything that has eaten flesh is going to be like a feral zombie. Whether we get to do that or not, I don't know. That remains to be seen. So it's just kind of it's a wish list item. Try shot. Hey Mad Mole, I love the game and the direction in which it is going. Not the biggest fan, all meat being the same, but it helps manage storage and whatnot. My 2 cents, right, I'm going to stop you right now, right there, is that we are planning on bringing back some different kinds of meat, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but not until we get a little bit better buff system, and get chemistry fleshed out so that we can make more recipes that give you special properties. And to answer your question, yes, I mean, random gen is totally configurable, and you guys will have all kinds of tools to generate your ideal world. Skullberry, what's up, dude? I kind of miss the stink area on the map when we stink. It has, of course, been replaced by the big nose icon. Back in the stinky map days, there was talk of body odor being a thing, and then if you went too long without bathing, it would then stink regardless of what you were carrying, and therefore attract zombies. There was also talk back then of recipes for soap, probably involving tallow, which would be necessary for bathing. Bathing would also have to necessitate taking off your clothes, including the backpack. Removal of backpack's also going to be a thing. Run fast without a backpack, good for quick escapes. Remember, bathing would have created situations where players would have to be extremely vulnerable and ripe for predatory PvP activity. Is this still a thing? Right now it's on the back burner kind of thing. I mean, it's still out there, but it seems to be a bit of a distraction, you know, just like eating can become a distraction. And I don't know, you know, how much fun sim features are compared to fort defense features and combat features. I mean, I think the core of this game is building a fort that can somehow withstand the incoming hordes, you know, the design of that base, the maintenance of that base, you know, it's all a careful balance of features. And, you know, the whole bathing thing, I don't think we're going to go there. It just seems like it's too much work taking off your clothes and getting clean, you know. I don't know. I mean, we're kind of like, we've got a lot of bigger and better things to do. This was not one of the Kickstarter goals. It's an idea that's been talked about, but, you know, it seems, to me, my gut feeling on this is it just seems maybe something simple like, you know, once we get item buffs and clothing buffs, you know, I think something like this, a dumbed down version of this could actually be of value. Like you could take rotten flesh and basically camouflage yourself to blend in with the zombies, as long as you have it and you keep right clicking it every 20 seconds or 30 seconds, you're slathering yourself in this zombie blood. And I think that could be kind of cool. And, you know, but, you know, then you go to a trader, you're going to want to use a bar of soap item, and you right click that and it consumes it, and then you smell good again. Something really simple, not, you know, taking your clothes off and doing the full sim in under the shower thing just seems a little too involved, and I don't think the majority of players would get into that at all. But, you know, there's mod potential for that, you know, so I think, you know, that's what's good about mods is we're going to have a good open ended architecture where people can get in there and add these sort of things that they really want, you know, that the masses aren't interested in, but, you know, there's 50,000 people that might like it, or 5,000 people, whatever. So 10, with the new horde scale system, will this be easy for PP to scale up manually if needed? I don't know what PP is, so I'll talk to you next week. Crawling. Will we ever see ability to crawl along the ground, crouching to crawling to vice versa? I don't know. That's not in our list. It's kind of an advanced thing, you know. It's going to take a month or 2 months of a bunch of guys just to put that in, and it doesn't really give us anything. I mean, that's kind of a PvP thing. This game's designed to play against zombies with your friends in co-op mode. And while we support PvP and we have plans for PvP, don't expect this game to become, you know, the next best open world PvP game. You know, I mean, that's probably, you know, Rust and Arma have that. That's their game. But our game, you know, we want good PvP, but think of it. But having amazing PvP is not in our goals. We want to have an amazing single player game, an amazing co-op game with zombies, where zombies are the main antagonist, and I just don't see much benefit to prone. I mean, even Fallout 4 doesn't have low crawling in their game, and it's a great action game. So I just don't see the value in putting in all that effort. So anyway, thanks for your compliment also. Sorry about the whole low crawling thing. But yeah, I just don't see us getting that in because it's a lot of work to support it. You have to have special animations on first and third, and we still haven't got our third person anims looking good at all. So I mean, until that's done, we can't be adding more features to the animation list. It's just too much work. Uriziel wants to know, not sure if it's been covered, but I've been away for a while, but will we eventually be able to join clans, tribes, guilds, gangs, cults, blah blah blah, group in here? So are we looking at factions at some point? Will another settlement ever need my help? Preston, Mad Mole. Yeah, we want to have at least 2 factions, and maybe 3. We're talking about the Dukes faction, the White River Settlements faction, possibly a bandit faction of sorts. So we'll see how that all shakes out. We're going to start with 2 and try to add the third, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, we definitely want, the White River will probably have some settlers that need help, and they're going to send you on quests to help. And kind of the whole the Duke, he's kind of like Negan from The Walking Dead. I mean, they're basically armed and organized, and they basically want to control everything with their guns, and White River Settlement's kind of the good guys. So the bandits will be something in between, or against both those other factions, and just want total chaos. So yeah, we'll expand more on that later. Chajeez wants to know, could we get a way to craft clothing that you normally must loot? I don't think so. We want to have lots of looting in there. I mean, sitting in your house and crafting everything is not this game. Never use any armor anyway, since I'm pretty careful, so might as well look pretty while I'm at it. Yeah, pretty while you're sitting in your base, safe, and never have to go get anything. I mean, we want you to get out there and interact in the world, because when you just sit in your base all the time, and I'm guilty of this too, it's fun to just sit there and work on my base. But, you got to get out there to get stuff. And I also feel that once I started getting out more and doing things, that I was having more fun. More emergent things were happening. I wasn't grinding away on wood cutting and building this big elaborate base that, I don't exactly need all these rooms and floors and everything, So it's kind of like, I think, we've got all that stuff down pretty good. I mean, we might add a few more clothing items you can craft down the road, or unlocks at a certain skill level or something. But, it's kind of like right now, I think it's feeling pretty good. And, there's... I can't say no, but let's just go with a maybe, and probably some stuff, but all the good stuff and the best stuff needs to be found or bought, I think. I mean, as a general rule, in terms of items, as far as blocks, yeah, you can craft the best blocks in the game. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name, guy. Hi there. I've been playing this game, for 10 days only, but I think this request is reasonable. Day 1 character spawn. It's not like I was just born. I did something in my everyday life before zombies invade the world. Therefore, I say that every character should have some abilities I already learned, and maybe I was a military guy and I should have some knowledge about firearms. Yeah, we've talked about professions, where you can pick a profession, and then you would have one primary skill you advance very quickly in. You would have one or two hobbies you would advance at a good speed, and then everything else you would level kind of slow. And they would be skill capped as well. So you would have, a profession that encompasses several skills, a few hobbies that encompass a few more skills, and then all the rest you would have a disability at learning, and it would take more effort to level the skills you're not interested in. I mean, you pick a character you want to play and play how you want to play, and those are your skills you're going to level up quickly. And then the odd stuff you would be a little more challenged at learning. So yeah, we've talked about that. It might happen. Not sure though. Kingslayer, you're a regular here, buddy. How's it going? Anyway, thanks for your 11th Q&A. You are welcome. I've been playing for almost a year in PvP online servers, and it always feels like players are too spread apart from each other. They tend not to interact. It is very hard to find others. It doesn't really feel like PvP. Have TFP ever thought about addressing this issue, and how? We haven't really been focused on PvP a whole lot. But, I'd have to put some thought into this question, so I'm sorry I don't really have, any... I guess we haven't talked about it, otherwise I'd be able to rattle something off the top of my head. A lot of people like it hard to find each other because, this game, it's not deathmatch in Quake where you if you don't get a frag in 10 seconds, you're getting upset, I mean, one frag every day or two is PvP in this kind of game because it's a big setback to get killed and raided, kind of like Rust, you don't get that much action in Rust. You grind for days, and then maybe you might after you're at the top of the food chain, you might kill 2 or 3 guys on a good day, and it's just not that often. So I'm not sure. I mean, I guess the one way to address it would be to make a smaller map. If you guys really want to go head to head and get a lot of constant action, but I think it should take time, because this is a slow game and you should have some space between you. So I guess it doesn't feel like PvP compared to what? Compared to Quake, compared to CSGO. I guess I would need some references. Even compared to Rust, I don't know. I think it's probably similar to Rust. So it depends on, your perspective and how you expect PvP to be. But in a slow survival game sim like we have, I think it's probably how it ought to be. I mean, you don't want to be getting killed, every 30 seconds. That's no fun. So I guess please clarify your question a little further on what you think a reasonable encounter rate would be, and then we could figure out a way to work on that. D. Lorenzo, hey all, please add corner blocks for low ramp wedge. Okay, so you want a little corner to fit in there. That would be easy. I could do that in half an hour. Okay, yeah, so an inside and outside corner basically for the 30 or the wedge 60 and that one. Okay. Little question, do you plan on add scissors or lawnmowers? Grass is evil. No, I mean you can punch grass with your fist pretty fast. Let's see. The only thing I could think of is some kind of weed control that you could put on the block and upgrade it to a non-growing block somehow, maybe. I don't know. That's just nothing though. I mean, that's not our priority at the moment. Grass is like in real life, you have to mow it, so I think it's fine. Effie Jeffy, my question is, are you planning about adding elevators in Alpha 16? Probably a sliding door elevator on the platform we have in creative menu. Are you also planning to add light switches to turn on and off in houses. Yeah, we're going to do hopefully movers and electricity in A16. I'm Hotep 856. You said vending machines you build won't be protected like the ones you rent from the traders. Would placing it in your land claim area protect it? Yes, it would give it more protection. But I think you don't want to do that because I think they have an alarm when you get hit and that'll summon zombies. So you're probably better off, well, placing it away from your base and putting it under a claim away from your base is what I would do, like within a, so that way you could like see people using it and you could shoot at them if they're messing with it and the alarm goes off, yet that horde doesn't come right to your base. So that would be the ideal use case. So make yourself another land claim and protect it, but make it off-site away from your base somewhere away from it. JW Mangrum, howdy. Been following the game for years, but first time question. Welcome to the forums, buddy. In a recent preview video, you appeared to be using a zombie model as your character. With UMA zombies now entering the game, would it be possible for the role players among us out there to include some zombie eye and skin textures in the character creation options? Yeah, you can make your own archetype using archetypes XML and basically, you know, do whatever you want. So as you can see here, it's a list of bits and pieces. So, you know, if you want to change, you know, here's like the zombie hat, beard, here's his eyes, and this is, that'll give him the zombie eye. So you can pretty much go through here and build a character you want, and we'll probably release our character editor, which it changes, you know, all these values as you see here with sliders, so you can, we just need to get that done. It's pretty cool. So let's see, Roman 21, more wild animals. I think it would be good to add a game of wild boar. Boar are more suitable for the environment of the game. That was aggressive to the player. Pig is too easy for hunting. It would also be nice to see, I don't know, you know, I think pigs are cool, you know. Crocodiles, do they have crocodiles in Arizona? I don't think so. And coyote in the desert. We've got wolves. You know, boars are possible. It's just a matter of, you know, getting that model in there. We'll see. Sinhole sounds in the game. Hey, I love playing 7 Days, and I want to thank you so much for the work you put into it. I'm curious if there will be any changes in sounds of auger, chainsaw, and nail gun. They're just too loud compared to other tools. I don't know. You know, we'll have to think about that. I've played 7 Days over 2,000 hours, and my favorite servers are hardcore PvP. Now, as you mentioned earlier that you're not a PvP player, so you probably don't know that other people are actually running in different directions as far away from other players as possible, since crafting vending machines is a stationary trade post. I highly doubt you'd ever be selling anything there successfully. It would just be another crate you can raid. Well, they're for co-op, friendly co-op guys. And, you know, if you want a PvP and people want to trash your vending machine, you know, then that's you can build it and let's see where it goes. Let's not just say it's not going to work before we know. So we have to try stuff. My suggestion is making the machines link to other vending machines that are crafted. Trader Joe's one's not included. It will require electricity and a radio or something, so when you place items to sell, your suggested items and price will be visible on other machines. It would be a post-apocalyptic version of Craigslist. You mean so they could buy your stuff from any vending machine? I don't know. That would probably require re-engineering of something that's done, and we're not going to reopen it up. Hey, Mad Mole, you guys pimp my game fun. Can we please perhaps get rails and a vehicle like this before the game will be finished? Maybe. I'm going to work on railroad tracks. I was going to get it on this build, but I just, things got too busy, so I didn't get to it. But I'll make them, and then once they're done, we can explore further options. I think features are always more likely to happen if they fall out of an existing asset. No pun intended there. They fall out of somebody's ass, basically. Yeah. So if I make the railroad tracks, it's going to be a lot easier, and we get them into the world and some mines and whatnot, make them craftable or whatever. If the railroad track models are there, we're halfway there. Then just adding this part is like a moving part on a track system, which will happen with the moving parts system that we have proposed. So I could see this happening after those two systems are done rather easily. It's just build this model and have a player interaction with it, and I think we could go with it from there. If we didn't get it in, a modder could probably do it pretty easily. J. Thor, Beyond Zombies. Question: without zombies in the game, there simply aren't any real threats to your survival. Is there any plans in the future to make this a viable survival game with zombies turned off? I don't know. I'm not going to read all that. You guys got to keep your questions simple. So, sorry. Basically, I suppose it's probably hazardous to some people. I mean, once we get snakes in the game, and we could make the PvE a little more challenging, I suppose. But, the zombies are the main antagonist. And there's going to be bandits, I suppose. The bandits could cause plenty of problems for you, too, without zombies on. But I'm not sure. If you turn the zombies off, bandits will probably get turned off too, and the traders and everybody, I imagine. So we'll see how. I don't know how that code path is, so we'll have to wait and see. When is the next mocap session? When it's done? Is there any plans to add traps dedicated to just hunting, like a bear trap and a snare? Nothing planned. I don't know. We got some. We'll talk about that when we get to doing some more traps. Extra kicking. What can we expect when electricity arrives? I don't know, dude. Alpha 16. Sorry, I gotta move on. I'm getting tired of talking already. Are there any plans to put more RPG elements? Something you were previous to the apocalypse. I was an engineer. Yeah, we already talked about that on a previous question. We're planning probably, major and minor skills, possibly wrapped up into a profession or labeled as a profession, but that's kind of what it's going to do. Metal Murderer, have you talked about electricity coming in 16? As far as you know, will it be standalone wiring like we see in the dinosaur survival game? Dude, I've never even played Ark more than like 30 minutes until I rage quit because it's so stupid. Sorry, that's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm sure everybody here is an Ark player and a fan as well, and that was, right when it come out, so it's probably better. I've actually bought it twice. I bought it for my kid, and I played on his copy like a year ago, and then I bought it again recently when it was on sale, so I'm going to give it another go. And because, everybody's playing Ark, and it's probably pretty damn good. I just have to get past that first half hour where it just felt rather restricted in my. I don't even remember why I didn't like. Anyway, yeah. So I don't have anything to compare to. So, and actually, until we get to it, we don't even know. But I mean, we've talked about proximity based. We've talked about wiring, like in Fallout 4. So I don't know. I don't know how Ark does it, but we're talking about possibly a proximity, or we're going to do some wiring. We've talked about having conduit blocks that can clip through existing voxels that you can hook things. Basically, yeah, we want kind of a proximity for small appliances like lamps and whatnot, but big thing, probably kind of like Fallout 4 has done it, where big things are wired directly and small things like ceiling lights and light fixtures and levers and whatnot. Those can just draw proximity power from like a conduit node, basically. But you know, we haven't finalized any of those designs. So what I say now and what we do in the upcoming weeks are two different things. Psych Ward Walker, Dear Mad Mole and the Fun Pimps, thanks for all the work and dedication in making 7 Days to Die. I know that programming and bug squashing is not easy. The question, will there be tiered weapon tool system like there is with armor? Example, stone axe to scrap metal axe, stop sign together, the brass hatchet, fire axe. I don't know. It feels like all that stuff's done, so probably not. Hi Mad Mole, will the leveled horde logic change the hit points damage to zombies to just size and type mix? The zombies are what they are, so we're not changing that. So it's basic, and the size is fixed too, so basically it's a very complex spreadsheet of what you get. You get a mixture of a hip. I can't even explain it. Gaz could explain all that better, so maybe you can ask that and from him and get a decent answer. But you know, I would just play it and see how it is and not worry about all the math and all that stuff going on behind the scenes. We're still, you know, I've only seen one horde. It was on day 7. Still playing. We're gonna be on day 14 in a few more nights. If we keep playing, we'll see how it goes. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I could hack in a cheat code and test all the spawns, but I just want to play it naturally and organically and see how the challenge feels. So, but basically we've added more zombies that have. We're trying to fill the gap in between ferals and fat cops, between the fat zombies. So we've got a few new guys that are a little harder than the fat guy, but not as hard as ferals and whatnot. So we're working on it. Zermby Durgan. Hey Mad Mole, the vending machine looks awesome. Can't wait. My question is, in the future, will there be a baiting system for hunting? For example, leaving corn out to draw in deer and pigs could potentially also draw in bears and zombies, or using meat or rotten flesh to draw in bears, wolves, and possibly zombies. Yeah, maybe. That might be just kind of a static trap or something we put together, and part of that recipe is the food, and it's a one-shot, or it's like, you know, you build the trap and then it's like a campfire, then you load it with bait, and then you in an inventory slot or something, and then you wait and see for stuff. Mr. Fusion TM. Hey Mad Mole, will we see weather, rain, snow, thunder on multiplayer dedicated servers again in Alpha 15? I hope so. I asked Favelli that the other day, and I don't know, he didn't respond to that particular question. So either he missed it or I missed his response. But I'm pushing to get it fixed, and if it isn't fixed in experimental launch, we will surely get to it for before the A15 first version hits. So hopefully it's already fixed. I don't know though. Sitting in Chairs and Couches by AJ Lamb 05. Glad you had a laugh with my drinking pee idea, LOL. It was pretty funny. We should be able to sit in chairs and couches. It's a minor feature, but it would be greatly appreciated. I know you're all for major features right now, but here's another reason this feature should be looked into. I put this idea up in Pimp Dreams, and another survivor had an awesome idea for the features. Since you guys will be eventually adding achievements, he thought of an achievement called Couch Potato, work sitting down these days. After dispatching the horde from a sitting position, not moving once. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I am a grocery bag. How many new zombies are coming in Alpha 15? I believe there are 9. ABC wants to know, will the huge bomb shelter shown in one of your videos be in Navigaine as well. It is in Navigaine, and that was in Navigaine. I really want to find it, so it'd be disappointing if it is not in Navigaine. Yeah, everything I showed is in Navigaine, and most likely everything will be found in Random Gen. I'm not sure if Random Gen supports schools and giant football stadiums. I don't know if I think it can, but I'm not 100% sure. So, but I know most of the new POIs, like 90% of them, are going to be in Random Gen, and 100% of them appear in Navigaine. As far as I know. If I'm wrong, sorry. Badger 2013. Are there any plans to add additional player stats? For example, a counter indicating how much wood a player has collected over the course of a game. Yeah, that might be interesting. We'll see. Carhu. What do you think about new mechanisms? Elevators get down and mine faster, or lawnmower to manufacture cotton in production quantities. Elevators, yes, new contraptions for that. I mean, we have a workbench, and that accelerates your crafting of every item, I think, while you're standing there, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm probably doubtful on that, because we already have something similar. We did add a new chemistry station in Alpha 15. We haven't got the model done yet. And chemistry is far from fleshed out, but we're still, that's a work in progress. Play test. Thanks for the response in advance. I'm digging the videos. My question is more of a request. I was hoping you might stream some of the play testing you said you would be starting soon. Will this be possible? No, I am not going to stream. Pocket Ninja's streaming when she plays with me. You can watch her stream. All my videos will go to YouTube. I'm not interested in streaming. Roland, this was a good amount for this week. Save your questions for next time. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys maybe next week. Next weekend, you guys might be playing on an experimental. We'll see. And if it is, I don't really know if you guys are going to want to bother with Q&A. You'll be like playing the game. So, do we want Q&A? Yes or no? I guess. I mean, that is. Do we want to keep Q&A going every week? I guess we can. So as long as you guys are asking questions, I'll be answering them. And I suppose now that I think about it, it is a really good idea to keep that going, because you guys are going to have direct feedback on the first experimental version, and being able to get in here and post the important topics, to bring it to my attention as we're fixing it and working on it and balancing it, would probably be a great idea. So, all right, that's it for now. I will see you guys next weekend, and thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe so we can keep things going. Talk to you later.